I really wanted to make a video tonight, but I wasn't feeling up to setting up my camera and cleaning off my desk because it's very messy right now. So I just decided I was going to make a video in bed, and we can pretend that we're at a sleepover together, you and we're just chatting. And I do have my adorable buddy Nova here as well. I wanted to talk in this video about being your own best friend. I've been struggling emotionally the last few days. I've been feeling very lonely, very shamey, and overwhelmed. I've gotten into a loop in my thoughts and a downward spiral of sorts. Just feeling like no matter what I do, I'm not good enough, and I just can't get my shit together. And like, I know in my head that like nobody has their shit together. Not really, anyways. Like, we're all just trying our best, I think. And I think most of us can admit to not really knowing what we're doing half the time, despite our best efforts. But even though I know that in my head, it doesn't mean that I feel it. Like, I haven't been able to grasp that concept, you know? Like, it's there, but I can't like grab it and embody it and embrace it. And I realized that I've been really focused on other people the last few days. And I think that's why I'm struggling so much emotionally, because I've been focused on others in an unhealthy way, where I just am trying to be everything to everyone. And I'm just worried that I'm not good enough and that I'm just not doing enough and being enough to be worthy of love myself. I even clicked on an article today that said 15 signs that your dog is unhappy. And then I was spiraling about how I was worried that Nova wasn't happy. I would say he's pretty happy right now, laying next to me. And we just came back from a long walk with my daughter. So I think we're doing okay. You know, things aren't perfect, but we're doing okay. But it's just like I've just been almost looking for ways to be disappointed in myself and looking for reasons to put myself down and hate myself, which I tend to do when I'm struggling. So this afternoon, on my second break of the day at work, I was walking outside and I suddenly realized that I can be my own best friend and I can return to myself anytime I want. And I suddenly got really excited. It was like a relief to remember that I can be my own best friend. And I started to think about, what does that mean to be my own best friend? Because it's a lovely concept, but then of course I want to put it into practice. and have, a practical plan of action. So tonight I decided to brainstorm a little bit and just think about what is something that I want in a best friend. And then when I've identified that, then I will just try to give myself those things. I'll just practice doing those things more. And maybe it will inspire you to do it for yourself. Or maybe you can make your own list of ways that it would feel the best for you to be your own best friend. For me, the first thing is emotional support. I can be my own best friend by giving myself emotional support. And this is probably the toughest one of them all because I do struggle to regulate my emotions. I struggle to accept myself when I'm having negative emotions or any emotions sometimes. Usually I'm just like, I hate feelings. I just don't want to have any feelings. And feelings are such a big part of the human experience. So there are many different ways that I can practice giving myself emotional support. The first thing that comes to mind is letting myself cry. I can get so anxious because I'm running from my sadness and my grief. And crying, even just like 5 to 10 minutes of crying, can really, really help. And for me, it's difficult to cry usually. So I often will need to access those tears through something external. Usually music is my go-to way to be able to cry. So I have some go-to sad songs that can help me cry. Sometimes a music video. Sometimes having that extra visual component can help me cry. I can also reassure myself and talk myself through my feelings. Like, hey, it's okay that I'm feeling like this. That makes sense. It makes sense that I'm feeling like this. Or this is just a feeling and I am not my feelings. And I'm not defined by my feelings. Or, yeah, I'm having a really big feeling right now, and that's really tough. But just because I'm having this feeling doesn't mean I need to act on it. That one's really helpful with anxiety. For example, when I'm feeling really anxious and I'm having the urge to send someone a text. And when I give myself that emotional support, usually I'm able to, not always, but usually I'm able to sit with the discomfort long enough for it to pass so that I don't need to act on my anxious feeling. Or just giving myself validation. I mean, I think that's such a comforting thing from a friend when a friend validates your feelings by saying, like, that makes so much sense. I totally understand. I could totally see why you feel that way. So those are all really great ways that I can be my own best friend by giving myself emotional support. The second way I can be my own best friend is by having fun and going on adventures. I really love going on adventures and having fun with friends. For me, this is usually doing something active, exploring in some way, out in nature, dancing, moving my body to music. I have been craving a hike lately. So I can definitely be my own best friend by taking myself on a hike sometime soon. Making the time is a really important part of this because there's always an endless to-do list. And there's always so much that could be done, needs to be done. Having these fun adventures does take some planning when you're an adult with responsibilities. And so that's a way to show friendship to myself by making the time, showing myself that I am a priority. Quality time is really important to me in all my relationships. I really enjoy just spending time with people. And if we get to go on an adventure and have fun together, that's the best kind of quality time to me. Like feeling joy and sharing that with someone else is like something that I love about friendship. And so, in the pursuit of being my own best friend, I want to share those memorable moments of joy with myself. Trying new things, going new places, or going to cherished places that myself and I have been many times before. Looping back to the hike, there's a specific place that I've been going since I was a kid for hikes. And I just keep thinking about it, and I'm just itching to get out on that trail. So I'm hoping to do that sometime soon. The next way that I can be my own best friend is by having inside jokes with myself. This one might seem a little strange, but I mean, I was trying to think, like, what are the things that I want from a best friend? Inside jokes mean a lot to me. They make me feel so connected to the other person. When, we have nicknames for each other, when we have specific, words that we say to each other, or specific ways of speaking, these little things that only we know that makes us laugh. Those are so powerful at making you feel connected to a friend. And so I think I want to think more about how I can do this with myself. I think just letting myself laugh with myself about things that maybe I only notice. I think this is a hard one for me because I have a hard time trusting myself. And so I often, if I will start to laugh about something to myself, I will often start thinking like, well, is this actually funny? Or like, is this actually that significant? Or do other people think that too? I think it comes back to building up that trust that my thoughts matter. And I have valuable observations. I think that's a way that I can work on developing inside jokes with myself. And none are coming to mind at the moment, but I'm sure I already have some. So maybe just noticing those more and validating them to myself more. I mean, honestly, sometimes I do crack myself up. But see, I laughed when I said that. But again, I think it's just like an insecurity of like it's hard to fully embrace it because I worry about what other people would think, and if I actually am good enough, like if those are valid thoughts. I think it's just practice. So many things just take practice. All of these things take practice, and that's okay. Healing is not linear, and neither is progress. And progress takes a long time, and that's okay. The next way that I can be my own best friend is by showing commitment to myself. I think one thing that I really crave in friendships is a sense of longevity. You know, like a reassurance that they're going to be there for a long time. And not because they have to, but because they want to, because it's important to them too. And that's sometimes a really hard thing to find in friendship. And it's not even necessarily because people don't want that or are purposefully not committing. But I think just life gets hard and things change, circumstances and people change. People grow in different directions. But I am always going to be with myself. And so this is a difficult one, but an absolutely attainable one for sure. I can always choose to be my own best friend by showing commitment to myself. That I'm going to keep showing up for myself. That I am going to keep practicing all of these things because I care, because I am choosing to love myself. There's this beautiful TikTok of someone saying, if you are trying to love yourself, then you already do. Isn't that so good? That's so, so good. And that's how I feel about my commitment to myself. I know that there are times that I abandon myself. There have been many times in my life where I have abandoned myself, and I know that I will continue to do that sometimes. But I always have the choice to return. And the fact that I want to commit to myself means, like the TikTok says, that I am already committed. And that is a really reassuring feeling. And it's very freeing too when you think about it, because it takes away the need for perfection. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be all the time. A commitment is something that is long lasting. I had 5 things and now I'm forgetting the last one. Let me think for a second. I don't remember. I think I'm gonna have to look really quick. Okay, I had to go look, but I'm back now. I had a list on my phone. The final way that I can be my own best friend is by accepting myself. In a best friend, I would be looking for acceptance. I think it feels so wonderful to be accepted in your weirdness and your goofiness, in your imperfections, in the ways that you are growing and changing, in the ways that you are unsure of yourself, having a friend accept you exactly as you are, exactly where you are, is so powerful. And that is something that I want to do for myself as my own best friend. And I think that for me, and I'm sure many other people, it's really the only way that I can make true progress, anyways. Because, growing up, I was taught that you have to make yourself do things, you have to discipline yourself, you have to. The messages weren't told exactly like this, but the idea was you have to be mean to yourself in order to make it happen. But shaming myself and being mean to myself has the opposite effect. It makes me less able to grow and to make progress. But accepting myself and loving myself in spite of my flaws and my insecurities helps me grow. It helps me change in the ways that I want to. It helps me progress in the things that I'm learning. It's a wonderful motivator to give yourself acceptance. When I feel accepted by myself, it frees me up to put my energy into the things that I want to put my energy into, including self-improvement. Well, thanks for hanging out with me and chatting on this little virtual sleepover. Nova gives you a high five with his paw. If you've made it this far in the video, please put an emoji in the comments of something that you like to do with a friend. And I would gently encourage you to do that thing with yourself sometime and be your own best friend. And I'll work on being my own best friend too. Okay, good night. Nova's like, "You're going to sleep already?" I'm not going to bed yet. Besides, you sleep at another corner of the bed. He's like, "What are you talking about?" You're so cute.